What was that? I am indifferent. Okay, One Piece chapter 1096. I don't think a chapter's ever made me felt this way. Oda's done this before, but I've never felt like this. This chapter was a roller coaster of emotions, and we talk about that all the time, but this chapter sums it up. I'm gonna go through as much as I can with this chapter, but I just gotta be honest off the rip. Oda setting us up with that ending, not the ending of the chapter, because that was that was a tearjerker in itself, but the ending of the God Valley flashback, or at least that portion of it. Last chapter, I said, we're probably not gonna get all of it, because this is Kuma's flashback. That's what we need to focus on. This is about Kuma. This is about Kuma. Then Oda pulled me in. Hold on. We got Garp. Then boom! No more God Valley. This chapter had the potential to be everything I've ever dreamed of. And it's not just about the fights. It's about these characters. These characters that are the characters of legend. One Piece chapter 1096. Kumachi. And I don't know, nothing came to my mind when I heard of Kumachi. Cover story, really not important here. It's not even one that I cared about as much as Zoro losing musical chairs. Zoro loses himself all the time. Let's get to the chapter. Winter's almost here and Halloween, and now it's time to dress up and go out, prepare for Christmas and holidays, etc. And that can get very costly. So today I want to talk about something that hits close to home for many of us. You know that feeling when unexpected expenses pop up and you're left scrambling to make ends meet before your next paycheck. It can be very stressful. That's where Dave comes in. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less with extra cash. And the best part, no interest, late fees, or credit check. Imagine having more money in your pocket to fill up your tank, finally get your car repaired, or catch up on bills. Dave gives you the financial relief you need without having to wait for your next paycheck. I'm not the only one who thinks Dave is a game changer. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app and experienced the peace of mind that comes with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch and need that extra help, download Dave today and think of it as a helping hand from the future you. To get started, just go to dave.com/B.D.A. and sign up for an extra cash account where you could get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. That's dave.com/BDA. And for terms and conditions, check out dave.com/legal. This year, let's face unexpected expenses head on and take control of our finances. Dave is here to help you prepare for the new year on the right foot. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC. I must say, the Celestial Dragons, as we've stated, you know, they're horrible people. And this hunt, they're calling these people animals. These human beings, they're looking at them like herd, like a flock. They have 150 rare rabbits. They have 13 super rare ones, which are worth 10,000 apiece. You get a bonus if there's a single hit kill. If it's a one-shot KO, you get more bonuses. They're treating these people like meat pies. They are tools in a game. If you kill them, then you succeed. If you kill them with style, you get bonus points. You have special characters in this game. If you kill them, you get even more points. Did I mention that these are people they're treating like this? It makes sense. Not saying that I agree with it, but I understand why they would do that. They're trying to have a good time. If you're gonna have a game, let's play, right? It's like Saw, right? If you're gonna be that, you're gonna be that. And so they're being that. Oda's doing this thing where it's gonna make more sense later. Introducing characters. The Manmeyer family. I no idea what that means, but it's gonna be more relevant going forward. I Googled Manmeyer. You wanna know what came up? Hey, you're gonna wanna hear this. Nothing, absolutely nothing came up, but it's gonna be relevant going forward. One Piece is the only manga that I read that I Google things all the time based on what I've seen in the chapter, because I don't know, it could be have some cultural relevance that I'm missing so it can make more sense. Manmeyer didn't give me anything. Maybe we'll wait for the vids and see if they change it, but typically this translation is on point. Now, these people are competing against Garling for the victor or the champion of God Valley, hunting these meat pies because, well, he can't be the champion if he doesn't have people to compete against. And so these people seem to be competent. I don't know. First off, they have, an hour before the event begins and they give them a time to run. And they're calling them rabbits. It's so sick. I'm saying for the story, it makes them more detestable so that once they fall, I'm going to enjoy it more. And I think if you're going to be a bad guy, right? Don't be in the middle. Don't be Bellamy, even though Bellamy wasn't a good bad guy, but be Doflamingo. Like, commit. They committed. Let's move on to Kong, because there's not much else I can say about how bad this really is. Let's move on to Kong. Kong is putting in a call to the guy, the guy with the G, Garp. He's saying, Garp, I need you to go to God Valley right away. I can't tell you why, but I need you to go. I think this is connected to the crown jewel, which Garp is not privy to because Garp at this point is only a vice admiral. And Garp at this point is utilizing his vice admiral privileges to its T because he's somewhere on a beach relaxing, enjoying his time on the clock. He's just like me for real. No, but seriously, Garp, this is why he's a vice admiral. This is why I don't want to be an admiral. I don't want to have to go to where Celestial Dragon, they get hurt and you're calling me. Only call me when it's Roger. Only call me when Roger's around. First off, Sengoku, or rather, Sengoku, Kong, who's finally a character again. Even in the Odin flashback when Roger talks about admirals, Kong isn't mentioned at all. I'm like, yo, what is Kong doing this entire time? Kong is stuck behind that sea stone desk, making calls, stacking papers, writing essays. That's what Kong is doing. He's in his position right now of Fleet Admiral, and he's making a call. So Garp gets the call, and what Garp says here is very interesting for a bunch of reasons. The first inkling I had was, well, Garp is saying, why did you mess with Hachinosu? Which I'm assuming could be a Cypher Pole agent or someone snuck in, stole the crown jewel. He's saying, why did you go mess with them? And I told you, he said, I always said it'd come back to bite you in the ass. So maybe a mission that they had planned that Garp was privy to. He's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't do that because Pirate Island at this point, that's kind of Rock's territory. And so they went in, stole the crown jewel. That feels like some Celestial Dragon stuff. Like, oh, Rox has this. We want it. Let's go get it. And now the Marine's on the hook for it. Okay, Garp, they took the crown jewel. All right, Roger's gonna be there. What? Well, why didn't you say that? Interesting stuff what Garp is saying here, which a lot of people probably realize but don't. Why did you go mess with a Pirate Island's beehive? You know it would come back to bite you in the ass. I told you about that. This isn't a flashback. In present time, Garp literally just went to the Pirate Island's beehive to save Kobe, not caring about what could come back to haunt him or what could bite him in the ass. Things just had to get done. Is this showing a change in Garp, or just Garp understanding what comes with it? Because it seems like Garp going into the Pirate Island's beehive, he knew what was there and he understood the consequences. The goal was to get his subordinate out. Regardless if it meant sacrificing himself, he was willing to do that. Just thought it was cool him saying that, and just where he is now, what he was able to do, what he was willing to do, which shows that Garp is not scared of anything. Garp, the more we find out about him, shows that he's literally the best character in One Piece. I don't think there's much competition. Maybe it is a little bit. So Garp finds out Roger's there. Garp, then he's on the move because that's his personal thing. That's his personal assignment. If that guy's involved, I'm there because we have a good time when we're around each other. Listen, it's not just about chasing Roger, okay? I'm sure they enjoy each other's company. He can push himself. Roger can push him. It's fun for him. Garp is on his way to God's Valley. And, well, I keep calling him Sengoku. Kong is saying Roger's on his way to God Valley, which we only know that because we know the history of God Valley and that Roger and Garp are there fighting together against rocks. It's not referenced yet. However, we go to Pirate Island's beehive, rock pirates, they're already on the way. Remember, guys? Remember, last week I had a video about God Valley saying God Valley was a lie. This entire video saying everything about rocks. And I said, well, there's this panel which showed that somebody pulled up to Kaido and said there's big trouble. The big trouble was that whatever happened got stolen from Hachinosu and they went to God Valley. That's why they mobilized that quickly. That's what the trouble was. Now, we don't know what this crown jewel thing is, but it's really important that all of these people, which we'll get into these people at some point in this video, it is very important. Now, I think Rox lied / embellished a few things about what's going on, but we'll talk about it. Now, Ivankov was born to be a revolutionary. The presence, the speech, the way he can rally, she can rally people for his cause, right? Ivankov explains again the mindset of Celestial Dragon, saying that they want to give you hope so that you can actually try. If you don't have hope, then you're just gonna fall down. You're not gonna try because you're gonna die anyway. And again, I agree with their methods because it's necessary for them to have fun. I don't agree with what they're doing, but I understand why they have to do that. So, okay, that sounds crazy. I don't agree with their methods. That's crazy. I don't agree with their methods. I understand why they do it because they're already bad people. They're leaning into it. It's enjoyable because it's going to be so good when they get their comeuppance. You know, these people, they're like, man, we can get away. We can do all this. Ivankov is rallying them saying, no, you're not going to live. You know, the total people from all these hunts, you know the number of people that actually survive is 0. Everybody dies. And the person at the forefront of this is Garling, because he's the champion. He seems to be the cool guy in this story. Now, Ivankov gets freed by someone I thought was Hack at the time. Can't be Hack because Hack is 38 years old. Of course, that could change. But Hack is 38 years old, selling the SBS. And so this was 38 years ago. So Hack is maybe not even born yet. We don't even know, but this isn't Hack. Ivankov is 50 something years old. So I don't think this Hack. Could be his dad or something. I don't know. Ginny, very interesting gal. They threw the glasses on her and she starts breaking down the devil fruit classes, right? Okay, we just got confirmation. I don't know if this is Oda changing the meta, but Oda is saying that the mythical Zoan fruits are the strongest class of devil fruits. And that's Kaido's fruit, saying if you eat it, it'll allow you to transform into an Azure dragon. So at first I'm like, well, this is expected. Kaido's devil fruit is here. The other is Kuma's devil fruit, as expected as well. The pawpaw fruit. Now, they're powerful for different reasons. A question I posed to some people in the chat at the time was, this is cool, this is cute. If you heard about these two devil fruits, without knowing what we know, without being One Piece tards that we are, there's no question which one we choose. We choose Kaido's devil fruit. But some people say, no, Kuma's devil fruit is way better. I'm like, if someone said you could turn into a dragon or you could get a pawpaw fruit, and it does say it can blast yourself and others, so it does allow you to escape, but I much rather my chances if I can transform to a freaking dragon. Now, I said someone had to put out the call. I don't know who was the whistleblower. Somebody said something. Come to find out, Ginny is a whistleblower. She's a pro thief and wiretapper. She leaked all the info 2 weeks back to the outside world, which is okay. The Rocks Pirates, it seemed again, they heard about this stuff. Not sure if they heard about it right away. If I had to guess, the Rocks Pirates mobilizing, Garp mobilizing, Kong making the call, Hachinosu, all this happened well before God Valley because they had time to get there. So they knew it was happening because she leaked it 2 weeks back. So they had time to mobilize and get things together because it seems like God Valley's out in the boonies. That's what Garp says. Well, this is pretty far away. Like, what? Why would I go there? But Ginny's plan was that we need a lot of people running around. And if we have a lot of people running around, then it's much easier for us to get these fruits. When I say running around, engaging in somewhat of a free-for-all, which God Valley is 100% that. Even with the Rocks Pirates being involved, they're 100% fighting not with each other. They all have their own agendas. I don't want to jump ahead, but boy. Now Rocks pulls up and we get the personalities of all these people, right? Well, Rocks, we're getting more characterization about him because he went on ahead. Does that remind us of anyone? I don't. Either way, he went on ahead. Whitebeard is saying, yo, don't rush ahead, Rocks. I never said I let an idiot like you give me orders. As I've been saying about Whitebeard on this Rocks crew, it's not just cut and dry that he was serving Rocks. There's a motive behind everything. Whitebeard is there because, you know, at that point, Whitebeard had his country and he was funding this. He needs money. He needs resources. He doesn't care about Rocks and Rocks' ambitions. He wants money. We see Stussy. We see Gloriosa, the former Empress of Amazon Lily. We see Shiki. We see Big Mom. We see a young Kaido. We see Captain John. We see Wang Ji. Oda's telling us off the bat, these people are not really following Rocks. They've come together for a score. I'm thinking Rocks told each of them they could have this specific thing. And they're like, oh crap, we'll come together. We're cool, I guess, but they're not necessarily a crew. It feels like they're a team. It's like Ocean's 11. They come together so that they can knock off this score. And it seems like even within this score, even within this, whoever finds it wins. Them working together to help Rocks achieve. No, I know the preconceived notion coming in that Roger and Garp, and this is clearly not what happened. These Rocks Pirates are in it for themselves. They just came together. I feel like Rocks somewhat embellished or lied about what it was because the crown jewel is here. All these people have such different motives. Like even Kaido, he has a personal, it's not a vendetta. I think he likens himself to Roger. Why? Well, one, let's think about the three strongest people on the crew, excluding Rocks because we don't know about him yet. Whitebeard, Big Mom, Shiki. What's common in these three? Even though they're really strong, devil fruit users. So for Kaido, being just strong himself, no devil fruit, of course he's gonna look up to someone like Roger. So now he wants to see what Roger got. So Kaido's comments back then about Roger ascended and he became, it doesn't seem that crazy now because back then he was a fanboy. I'm guessing. Some people were surprised about Gloriosa. I believe there were hints before about her being a part of the Rocks crew, Stussy. Silverax and Wang Ji, there are hints of them being in Thriller Bark as well. Obviously Captain John. Captain John is very intriguing here because even amongst these legends, he stands out as one he has his own aura to him. Of course, Whitebeard is the guy, but he has his own aura and it seems like he's gonna succeed. I somewhat feel like he's gonna succeed at whatever he's there for in some way. He seems like an underdog, but he seems very resourceful as well. I don't know, there's something about Captain John that I just really like. I don't know what it is, man. We get the Rocks Pirates. Beautiful spread. Characterization. Next, we get the Roger Pirates. Now, Rayleigh's not mentioned a lot about him being at God Valley. It's just about Roger and Garp, and Roger's entire crew is there, right? Rayleigh, Scopper, and the other guys, right? Crocus isn't there yet because he's not on a crew yet. But seeing Roger there with Rayleigh, characterization. Roger's like, man, do you have any idea how I felt this past year? Scopper's saying, yo, you can't call dibs just because you're the captain. And Rayleigh, being a consummate professional, saying, yo, this looks rough. Assessing the situation. Garling. He looks really cool, but more than anything, he looks just like Shanks. I'm starting to think that Whitebeard, and I believe what Whitebeard was talking about is, of course, it has to be Garling. It makes too much sense. I'm a huge Garp fan now. Back then I hated him because of what happened to Ace, but as time went on, I understood his decision. It's not an easy one. But man, I was so happy when Garp showed up. But even further than that, Bogard was so damn good to see, because shout out to my boy, Steve-O Game Boy. He's been talking about Bogard even before Bogard was even a thing. Like, a lot of people talk about Bogard now, not only because of One Piece live action, but other people have made it more of a thing. But back then, talking about 2016, 2015, Steve-O was talking about Bogard, and now he's confirmed at God Valley. And then we have a cheeky looking character next to Garp. I don't think we've ever seen him before. He's there as well, and he's looking like he's about that action. But Garp pulling up, man, this is the guy. Like, no, seriously, Garp is that dude. I love Garp so much. I hope he doesn't die. But think about it. Think about what's going on. They're about to have a hunt. God Knights. Ginny sends out basically correspondence to everybody out there. They send Garp, Roger comes, rocks. It's mayhem, anarchy. And that's what they wanted so that they can go and secure the fruits. Now, as perfect as the first half of this chapter is, the second half is abysmal. And I'm not serious about that. That's somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But for my emotions, it is. But there's some parts about it that I have some questions about, because, wow, this is Kuma's flashback, and the whole point was to see Kuma, and I get it. And the God Valley stuff, Oda, they talk about an Azor dragon. What about some Azor balls? Actually, let's cut that out. We skip everything with Kuma and how these kids made it to the treasure room and picked out those devil fruits, which it's implying that these are the only 2 devil fruits that are there. There are no other devil fruits. What's in the chest really doesn't matter. So we don't get to see that. We do get to see Big Mom coming in, because we're like, whoa, they have the devil fruits. Whoa. Big Mom comes in and she's like, yo, close one. Then Kuma steps back. Ivankov, she's such a motivator, man. Ivankov grew in my eyes. Characterization, I like Ivankov more. I really don't know what to call Ivankov. Ivankov convinces Kuma to eat that devil fruit. And then Kuma eats the devil fruit, and here comes Big Baddie Saturn, right? Just always showing up at opportune times, summoning himself. If you look closely behind Saturn, he summoned himself again. I'm surprised nobody felt him this time, or maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. It just looks like he summoned himself. Saturn really hates the Buccaneers, and I believe I know why, which is more than likely because these people, not saying they're the ones that conjured up Nika, but they definitely used to praise Nika, right? And because of their body types, they probably were born into slavery just because of how strong they were, and they were used, and they seem to be strong, gentle people. So they were used time and time again, and so they needed something to look to, someone to save them, and that was Nika, and it was passed down amongst the Buccaneers. And so for the world government, of course they're gonna hate Nika, because the Nika is the antithesis of everything they stand for. Like I said, Emu, devil, Luffy, god, sun god, and it's like the Buccaneers, it's almost like Nika is their religion. It's no surprise that Kuma actually carries a Bible. Now that we put everything together, he's warding these demons off, because these people are demons. They're demons, and Emu is a devil, and him carrying that Bible, I wonder what's in there. I wonder if it's the history of Joy Boy, if it's more information about Nika. Do we find out more in regards to that? Because Kuma, this gentle giant, but his speech, what he says, in the moment, it didn't hit me as much, but I don't think this is a Gear 5 chapter or of that hype because of how it ended. But as far as just how much is condensed in this chapter, it is so thick. Talking about a chapter, it's meaty, right? Saturn comes to him and he says, he's such a dick. He says, you can either live as a slave or die. He said, nothing else can be tolerated by someone of your ilk. Like your people, you were born to be slaves or die. That is what the tides of the time have decided. It's almost like Doflamingo. Those who are strong decide history. Basically, they're saying the people who are in charge don't really like you and like your people, so you are cursed to either be slaves or die. Kuma says, I don't understand how someone can be born to be less or more important. If you're born a slave, what's the point of even being born at all? If I have power, I'm going to use this power to free as many people as I possibly can, just like Nika. To save as many people as I possibly can, just like Nika. Kuma is beautiful. He's a Buccaneer, a gentle giant, a great person, thoughtful, fearless. He sacrificed himself to get this thing. Like even when he was talking about it, he had a target on his back with an arrow in it already, because the Celestial Dragons, they started before it was time. I can't tell you guys enough about how Kuma as a character has just blossomed for me. He's moved up several notches. He is amazing. an amazing person, and you know tragedy is on the way. Even more tragedy. Parents getting killed in front of him, even more tragedy. But I think Saturn told us exactly about Kuma and why they don't like them. He said this is why you need to be erased because he mentioned Nika, and then Saturn got mad because Kuma's talking about Nika. And I think those people, they were really, that their religion was Nika. That's who they believed in because that's who came to save them when they were in the dire need. The emotion after this, because just realizing, because it didn't hit me right away, because we saw Rox and Roger, and it's, my headcanon is starting to get crazy with those two. They know each other. And so we're going to create an entire video about Rox and Roger and why they know each other for a long time. Roger pulls up, says, hold it, Rox. Rox says, Roger, not now. You're in my way. We see lightning, which means they clashed. And then Oda gives us the box saying this fateful incident, it broke me. Look at this, man. I'm still recovering. Like, I'm still thinking about the chapter and just what Oda did here. And he didn't do anything wrong necessarily, but he did. He knows what he was doing, giving us all those characters, all these moments, that setup to tell us this fateful incident. Sorry, not time. Maybe next time. This was about Kuma, guys. Why were you so interested in Roger and Rox and Whitebeard and Shiki? And the emotion is still there, bro. I can't tell you guys enough. But we go back to the Sorbet Kingdom, and they talk about Morgan saying that he's a hack because he's reporting what the world government wants him to. And that's interesting to see how Morgan's has come a long way. It's like not about the world government or the Marines. It's about what he wants to report and what makes things more interesting for him. So I would like to see Morgan's progression as a reporter and how he kind of takes these things in stride. With Kuma, a lot of the things that I would like to see is skipped when he ate the fruit. Well, we saw him eat the fruit. How he discovered his powers, how he saved some of the people. Not just everything, it's just 500 people. The reason why I'm not upset about it is because we know how Kuma can whisk people away. So we already know that. We skipped a lot of Kuma for God Valley. And then once we got into God Valley, we went back to Kuma, which is genius because I can't wait for the next chapter. I'm still pissed though. I don't know what to feel. I'm being honest. Kuma has the hands of liberation. That's what they're calling them because he has the paws and he can free people. He can send people wherever he wants them to go. And it's just like, it makes whatever he did to the Straw Hats more symbolic. It's like he sent them each to a place for them to learn something that can aid their journey. And so Brook getting sent to Namakura Island, it makes more sense now. He got sent to Satanis where, you know, with magic circles, I wish Brook had learned some more there because that we could use it to fight against the powers that be now. I want to say this, maybe Brook did learn something, we just don't know about it yet because you know it was the Straw Hats, they don't talk to us or each other. Kuma living in a church makes sense. He carries a freaking Bible. He's super religious, man. He's like, again, the Buccaneer people, it seems like they had to do that to basically stay sane and get through everything they had to go through because they were punished way more and way worse than most because they had strong bodies and they were different. They felt like they could take it. It's almost like Shaquille O'Neal in the post. They're not going to call the foul because he's big, he can take it. It's like LeBron James. They're not going to call the foul because he's big, he can take it. Doesn't matter. It's still a foul. Call the foul. Sorry. It's a bit personal, just saying. Ivankov then chooses to go out to sea, and Ginny does not go with Ivankov. Ginny chooses to stay with Kuma. And at this point, I think more than likely Ginny is Bonnie's mom. I mentioned that last week, but now it's pretty evident it is. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind, right? Because she's eats a lot like her. She's basically going to grow up with Kuma, and you know, she's 3 years a senior though, so she's older than him, but I think we can pretty much parse together what happens. Yeah, they go on, and with her being the brains, because she's obviously very smart, they start making money. Kuma, with his strength and his body and durability, he's, you know, doing different things, different odd jobs to make money, and he's not a violent person, right? Ginny had to be sticking up for him, etc. I think the moment where Ginny's like eating, right, they're done eating, and she's like, man, Kuma, how long were you a slave? Since when? Since I was 4. She's like, well, me too. And like, my stomach's full, right? Like my stomach's full, bro. This is not normal for me. And I think that part was very touching. It almost broke me. It was very touching because not only is she crying, but Kuma's crying as well. Something that's really cool is that the two boys that Kuma took their pain away, those two guys are members of Bonnie's crew. If you look at Bonnie, her introduction, when she's eating the pizza in Sabaody, look at the two guys behind her. Those two guys are the two kids that Kuma took their pain away, right? There are a ton of somewhat Easter eggs and callbacks that you can somewhat piece together that you would miss if you're not paying attention, or maybe you just don't care. But man, there's a lot in here. Maybe I'll make that a separate video, but wow. Chapter ends off their first taste of peace and hope, and it's just the calm before the storm, right? Tragedy is afoot. This chapter answered some questions, but raised a lot more. I think I'm starting to piece things together in regards to Kuma, Ginny, how she passed away, how it ties to even Roger, right? There's some things there, guys. I gotta say this is a chapter that we're going to remember forever just because of the emotions involved within it. It confirms some things to me in regards to rocks and the rocks pirates, what they are as a tandem, which they come together for a score. They don't really bang with each other, and you can understand why they imploded. This is a free-for-all. You're not really picking sides, and the only time you can say someone picks sides is Garp and Roger because of what Rocks either said or what he was going to do, because Garp came there for Roger. He did not come to fight Rocks. He came to fight Roger. And so Rocks did something where Garp was like, oh, but he can't let that slide. And so I love it. I love it. I'm gonna hold short. Gonna hold short on saying what I want to say, but I could go more because there are more things that I really liked. Great chapter. Can't wait for the next one. Expect some more stuff delving deeper into what happened, but Oda, you did it again, you scoundrel. Like, subscribe. You did it again.